Hi, my name is Jay with Kick Foosball Tables. First off, I'd like to welcome you to the Kick family. Today I'll be showing you how to properly assemble your Kick 55-inch Oynx foosball table. I hope this instructional video was helpful. With no further delay, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you want to do is open your box and take a look at your contents. Then, lay each piece out onto your floor individually. If you're assembling your foosball table on a hard surface, I do recommend you lay it on a large blanket or a large piece of cardboard. That way we don't damage our foosball table during the assembly process. Next, you want to match each part that's inside your instruction manual. After sorting out all the parts in the box, and once you've matched each part to what's inside your instruction manual, if you notice any missing or damaged parts, please contact Kick customer support with pictures of your shipping label, the box itself, and the damaged part. Our contact information will be listed at the end of this video. For step 1 of this assembly, we'll be attaching our end panel brackets P21 to both end panels P2B and P2C using our H4 screw. This part's pretty simple. You just want to go ahead and align your bracket to the marker that you see here on all 4 of your end panels. Just kind of align to the center of that line, making sure that the bracket is flush with the back of the end panel. For step 2, we'll be attaching our end panels P2B to both side panels P1 using our H3 screw. You just want to make sure that the hole for the rods is faced downwards closest to the floor and that the black side of the side panel is faced outward. You also want to make sure that the end panel, the white side, is faced inwards towards the playing field. You'll notice these 2 holes here on the end panel. So we're going to align the end panel to the inside of the side panel, making sure that it's flush to the top of the side panel. For step 3, we'll be attaching our end panels P2A to both side panels P1 and both end panels P2B using our H4 screw. So you want to go ahead and line up the end panel underneath the assembly, making sure that it's flush to the back inside of the end panel P2B and that the brackets are flush to both side panels P1. For step 4, we'll be attaching our playing field P3 onto the top of the assembly using our H3 screws. You just want to make sure that the graphic side of the playing field is face down. Go ahead and align your playing field, make sure that it's flush with the end of the end panels on both sides. Next, we'll be attaching all 3 of our support braces P5 using our brackets P20 and our screws H4. What you want to go ahead and do is line up this first brace in the middle of the table, and the other 2 you want to space about a foot apart. Next, you want to align your bracket, making sure that it's flush with your brace and the side panel. Next, you want to attach all 4 of your P6 brackets to all 4 corners of your playing field and side panel using the H4 screws. Next, we'll be attaching both of our end panels P2C using our black corner piece P17 and our H4 screws. You will notice that there are these 2 grooves here on both sides of the end panel as well as the side panel. Just go ahead and make sure that your black side of the end panel is faced outward. You go ahead and insert your corner piece P17 into the grooves on both side panel and end panel. For step 6, we'll be attaching our leg P4 to our table using our H2 washer and our H1 bolt. It does indicate in the manual that there is a cross bar. However, this model table does not have a crossbar, so we'll be skipping that step. One way to determine that you are adding the correct leg to the correct side of the table is you want to make sure you line up both the holes on your leg to both the holes on your side panel and in panel. Once your holes are lined up, go ahead and insert your H1 bolt and your H2 washer. Then secure with the Allen wrench that was provided. Next, we'll be attaching our goal P12 over the goalie hole on the inside of the in panel. We'll be attaching our goal to the other in panel using our H4 screw. Next, we're mounting our ball catcher over the hole on the side panel using our H2 screw. This part's pretty simple. So you want to go ahead and line up the holes on your ball catcher to the holes on the side panel. You also want to make sure that the hole on the ball catcher is on the high side. So this would be the incorrect side, this would be the correct side. Next, we'll be securing our ball runner P13 between the goal hole and our ball catcher. For step 8, we'll be attaching our leg leveler P10 to the bottom base of each leg. This part's pretty simple. I'm going to screw down your leg leveler all the way down to the bottom base of your leg. Now the purpose of these leg levelers is to even out your table during play, so that if one side is higher than the other, you actually unscrew these a couple notches to even out your playing field. You will also notice this rubber ring on each leg leveler. This will prevent your table from sliding back and forth during rough play. After you completed attaching all your leg levelers to the bottom base of each leg, we're now on to the next step in turning over our table. This is a two-person job, so you need some assistance for this part of the assembly. What you want to make sure is that you don't rest the weight of the table on either of the legs. So you want to turn over your table in one swift full motion so that all the legs hit the ground at the same time. For step 9, we'll be attaching our ball entry cups P9A and our ball entry sockets P9B to our table using our H5 screws. This part's pretty simple. So we're going to go ahead and insert your ball entry socket into the inside of the table. And insert your ball entry cup through the ball entry socket and tighten. Then you want to make sure that the ball entry cup is flush to the top of the table. Insert your H5 screw and secure. Next, we'll be attaching both of our rod bushings, C10A and C10B, to our table using our A1 tool. And you just want to make sure that your C10A, that the grooves that you see here line up properly to the holes on the side panel. Go ahead and insert your C10B bushing into the outside side panel and secure with your H2 tool. After you've attached all of your rod bushings to your table, we now on the next step, step 10, in inserting all our rods and attaching each player to each rod. The most important part of assembling your foosball table is making sure that all the rods and players are in the correct position. So you want to carefully review the diagram, locate the instruction manual prior to inserting your rods. What you want to make sure is that you add the correct amount of players per holes in the rod. You also want to make sure that there's a hole on the correct side of the table where the handles will later go. Before we insert all our rods and attach each player to each rod, I'm going to show you an already assembled table and explain to you the differences between a one-man goalie versus a three-man goalie setup, and the difference between a counterbalance men versus uniform men. One-man goalie versus a three-man goalie setup. With this table, we have the option to have either a one-man goalie or a three-man goalie setup. Most beginners and some others prefer a three-man goalie setup because there's more defense around the goal, making it harder to score and give their user more control over the field. Others prefer a more fast-paced one-man goalie setup. It's really up to you. To have a three-man goalie setup, you have 3 players on the goalie rod. You could optionally place the white field lining tape on both sides of the table to prevent any dead spots, if any at all. If you are looking for a one-man goalie setup, instead of having the other 2 outer men on the goalie rod, you replace them with the 4 black stop rings. Next, place the 4 green triangle corner ramps you received on each corner of the playing field. If you already laid the fill lining tape down, you can place the ramps on top of it if you ever want to switch back, but this is going to be your style of play, then cut the lining tape accordingly so that it does not go under the ramp, or don't install lining tape at all. Finally, screw in the 4 ramps using the 4 screws that were provided, and cover the holes using the 4 plugs. Counterbalance min versus uniform min. With your table, you receive 2 full sets of different style of foosball min, 1 set of uniform hard plastic min, and 1 set of ABS counterbalance min. The uniform min are the plastic min used mostly by beginners. If you keep the players on the rod in a horizontal position, they'll just fall back down to a vertical position. Or if you free spin the rods, they'll just continue on spinning. Whereas the more experienced players prefer the counterbalance min. Counterbalance players mean that there is a weight in the head equal to the weight of the toe. So unlike the uniform min, they will not fall back down into a vertical position and left in a horizontal position, or in any other position. They also don't keep on spinning like the uniform min. This lets the user position the foosball min to their liking or technique. When attaching your players to your rods, you want to note that there's a bumper, a washer. Then you want to add the correct amount of players per holes in the rod. Then add another washer, and another bumper. Then you want to complete by sliding through the second hole. Go ahead and line your players up over the holes in the rod. We will be securing our players to our rod using our C6 bolt and our C7 nut. Go ahead and line up the chest of the player to the hole in the rod. Insert your C6 bolt. Hold the bolt in place, turn your player around. Insert your C7 nut to the back of the player. Hold the nut in place, turn the player around, and secure. For step 11, we'll be attaching our handles P7 using our H7 bolt. This part's pretty simple. You're going to line up the hole in the handle to the hole in the rod. Insert your H7 bolt and secure. One quick note, these handles are really high quality. Most other companies use really cheap rubber slide-on handles. Also, these rods are semi-hollow, so they are durable enough to rough play, yet light enough to let the player have full control over the rod. If you need any rod lubricant, please contact Kick and we'll send you a free complimentary bottle. Next, you want to go ahead and place the rubber end cap P8 on the other end of the rod. Next, we're attaching both of our slide scores P14 to both end panels using an H6 screw. Just go ahead and line up both ear ends of your slide score to the goalie line that you see here. Insert your H6 screw. Congratulations! We are now officially done assembling our Kick Oynx 55-inch foosball table. You are now free to enjoy your table with your friends and family. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please visit us at www.kickfoosballtables.com or email us at support@kickfoosballtables.com.